Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden and welcome to my April garden tour of my front yard. I garden in southeastern North Carolina in a town called Wilmington in Zone 8B. Now, if you are familiar with my yard at all, you may realize I am standing in my backyard right now, but that is simply because I wanted you to see the gloriousness of my wisteria in full bloom. So now that you've checked her out, we can head off to the front yard and start our tour there. I have passed my last average frost date here, which means things like my favorite huge flower pot that has always gone beside my walkway gets to come back out again. I have both snake plants in there as well as dipladenia that have been overwintering inside my house. So that dipladenia, which has overwintered for me before, is going to have vibrant red pink flowers on it. And here we are back outside so we can get all that sunshine and start its blooming really soon. Some of the other things I want to point out right along my walkway as well that are either coming back and I can see exactly what's happening with them, or are brand new plantings for me that I'm looking forward to showing you. It's early morning here, so I was hoping to grab some great shots of this front area before the sun really rose up and got in our way. So along my front pathway, I have the lemon coral sedum. I talk about it all the time. I don't know if any of you have teenagers who drive and a narrow driveway. I have both of those things, which becomes complicated when you're trying to have plantings next to your driveway. The lemon coral sedum is unbelievably resilient and awesome because it's got run over a couple of times and yet it still looks glorious. It's still growing, expanding. It's an awesome ground cover. And so I've taken pieces of it from the side closest to the driveway and brought it over here in an attempt to have an awesome like yellow ground blanket on both sides of the pathway, but also to save it from being run over on that side. My whole front edging here, I have dianthus. You know, it's one of my favorite babies. This one is said to be an annual variety with no other descriptive name on it, but I am pretty sure that here in Zone 8B, it is going to be perennial for me. Regardless, it was a perfect little beautiful flower to just add along the edging. Now let me talk about some of the other things that are happening back here. I found beautiful elegance purple lavender, and I have a few different plants of it, but I put one of my lavender plants here because I was hoping that when we get those gentle breezes, maybe the sweet scent of lavender can fill our noses as we walk up our pathway. So that's the idea with the elegance purple lavender. Right here, I have the double scoop bubblegum echinacea. Echinacea is a kind of cone flower and it's a perennial. The double scoop is a particular kind of echinacea. It is a favorite of mine. So that one already has one flower that looks a little raggedy. Let me get the camera a little closer so you can see all this beautiful vibrant color that's happening here. Okay, so first of all, you cannot miss this vibrant pink verbena. This verbena has a spreading habit and I absolutely love having it in the front of my yard. Now, this exact verbena used to be in that big flower pot that I said was beside my walkway. I just thought in the fall, let me take it out of the pot and see if I can overwinter it in the ground and see what happens. Turns out that was a fabulous idea because this vibrancy did not dull through the entire winter or the entire fall, and here we are now and it's looking like this. So I happen to be, I think, right on the line of where verbena is going to come back as perennial. So I feel super blessed that I have this one and it looks this good. I have a little lime punch hydrangea. This I only planted in the fall as well. So this hydrangea is hardy zones 3 through 9, I believe it is. And it is going to bloom later for me. So this will start adding some extra color in like toward the end of the summer and into fall and things like that. So I'm looking forward to having this shrub beauty here. You can't see them great, but Grace Ward Lithidora, 1, 2, and I have 2 more in front of a rock right here to this side. Those babies have blue flowers. So the blue here, the pink here is simply adorable. So we have blooms that are going to be happening spring into summer. Likely for me, I'm going to be having them sporadically through the fall. So Grace Ward Lithidora. I can never say enough good things about my kaleidoscopobelia shrubs. I have 3 of them here in my front yard. These evergreens change color with the season, so the leaves are always vibrant and beautiful and just make a great statement piece for the front area of my yard. Before we get too far out of this zone and you can't see it anymore, I have another precious dianthus right here. This is the Captain Purple Frost, and this is hardy in zone 7 through 10. This has the real carnation-like flowers, and of course, you know I love dianthus. So this is a new addition here, and then as I said, the kaleidoscopobelia goes this direction. Right here in the front are the 2 other Grace Ward Lithidoras, as well as the annual dianthus planted in the front there. As we continue to go around the front flower bed, I do have a gardenia here. This is the Diamond Spire gardenia, and this is the first time I've ever had this. It was part of my curb appeal change back in the fall. So I'm looking forward to the scent and the beauty of having the gardenia here. Right in front of me, the Carmen Red dianthus, and I did do a video about my love of dianthus, so you can check that out and see why these babies are magnificent. Behind me, my loropetalum has stopped blooming. That was really happening in February and into March, but I still love the color of the leaves all the time on that. And my weeping yaupon holly, oh my goodness. This baby has been magnificently resilient. Now we do have tiny flowers on it right now. We have red berries on it in the winter time. Of course, its weeping and delicate look is nice all the time, but the resiliency of it, I just wanted you to know. It has been through some major tropical storms and some hurricanes. We had some wind damage where it was entirely spun around in the ground, and we thought that was it. We chopped this baby down to a minor amount of trunk left, and we intended to pull it out of the ground with a 4-wheeler. Well, guess what? It surprised us by starting to re-sprout. All of this is new growth from just a nub of a stump of a tree. So this is probably now 4 years of it regrowing in this way, and trust me when I say I will not doubt this baby again. My front flower bed goes around the side, and I've done some edging, but this area behind me is something not really ready to show you just yet. Just to point out real quick, I have a crepe myrtle, so it is leafing out. I do have the golden euonymus. That golden euonymus is doing awesomely in that back corner, and it's a great foundation plant because of its vibrant evergreen color. This barberry does lose all of its leaves, so it's leafed out again for this season, but I have to trim it and shape it. But inside this flower bed, I have lilies, I have irises, I have a golden sword yucca, I have some ameria, lots of things happening, but again, not really showcase time for this spot just yet. Moving from the front flower bed where we were, we enter my Peninsula garden area. This is one of my favorite gardens, and it is my favorite spot in the front yard. This has grown tremendously every single year. It started out as literally nothing. One item got put in there, and then suddenly I just kept going and going and going. But it's great because I have the space to add more. I do have full sun right here, certainly no mature trees. I have that one magnolia that I planted about 5 years ago, but it really doesn't offer me a heck of a lot of shade just because of the way that the sun goes. So I have a crepe myrtle tree here. Over time, it will start to give me shade, but certainly still right now it is quite small. I do have some other dianthus annuals once again. I have a cordyline, and this one is just the red leaves, so it does stay perennial for me. Here's the other lavender I was talking about. And this lavender is gonna be here where I have a black and blue salvia here. So I kind of have a lot of cooler toned plants and flowers right in this area, which is fine by me. I love having different combinations of things. And right there in a humongous clump, I have orange daylilies. Potentially the orange and purple are gonna be blooming at the same time, which is awesome because complementary colors. The idea originally of this flower bed was to have taller items along this side, which is closer to the house, and all the shorter items going toward the road. But my husband and I really have decided on maybe something a little bit different. We're thinking of a more full garden area. Not that these two flower beds will actually come together and touch, but have much less grassy area in between. With that in mind, I'm now wondering if I should extend the flower bed in this way with lower plants back here too. So I have a couple of dianthus and a couple of artemisia right here kind of waiting. I'm not sure what to do with them just yet. And of course, this flower bed is very much in progress, but I have a lot of things happening over here that's fun and exciting, and this is all the stuff I want to share. Looking at things from the front, hopefully you can get a little bit of a better perspective as to how the Peninsula garden stands versus the front flower bed there. So right now I don't have a ton of color happening in this flower bed, but that's all about to change. May starts a magnificent blooming time in this garden. Well, right here I have Marcus salvia, so that is already looking great. The purple is fabulous right now. I have some mums here, I have some Rudbeckia here, so those are things that are going to be happening a little bit later for me. One of my favorite things that is going to be here, I have some echinacea that is just, it's my favorite when it first comes out because it's got that vibrant pink color to it. And I have two of those. And then all interspersed throughout, I have evening primrose, which is kind of like a big yellow buttercup flower. So that is an immense spreader, and I'm going to show you more kind of evidence of that with the sheer number of primrose babies that I have. So that's both a positive and a negative in my opinion, but nevertheless is going to give me tons of color in my May garden. So as we get a little bit closer here, so I have some other things happening. That is the pink echinacea I was referring to, and directly in front of that, that other cute little plume, that's going to be the purple balloon flowers. I have some peonies that are leafing out right over here. Of course, my daylilies are attempting to take over that whole space. Right here is a perennial hibiscus. This is a Luna rose. It's going to have the deep magenta, huge flowers on it that are extremely plentiful. So that's going to be a whole lot of color, and look how tall the leaves are already. So I'm thrilled about that. Golden sword yucca for evergreen interest, and of course the texture on that is quite interesting. My beloved rocks, which I always talk about. And I have some blanket flowers that are already up and blooming. While we're in the area of my blanket flower with its beautiful blooms already, I'd like to point out some of the things that are amazing self-seeders, including those. As I get a main blanket flower plant, its seeds do eventually turn to, you know, the really light, delicate kind of seeds like a dandelion, and they blow all over. I end up with blanket flower babies everywhere, and a lot of what you see here is all blanket flower babies. At the same time, the evening primrose I was talking about, the yellow buttercup flower, these are all primrose babies over on this side. And then here, where you can see just that light pink delicate flower popping up right now, that is called twilight primrose. Twilight primrose is the pink while the evening is the yellow. Well, I didn't realize how much it was going to spread. Holy twilight primrose, Batman. This whole area is that. I have a sweet pincushion. He's trying to say, wait, look at me. And then of course I have a dianthus that's been going just, dianthus, just amazing. Yet another variety right there. In the front, the purple you can see is a verbena. It's another one with a spreading habit that this has looked like this all winter long. The purple though is not as standout in my opinion as the bright pink one because you can't see it as well against the dark colored mulch. But nevertheless, I have that bit of color there. By the way, this is probably my favorite rock because the moss on it is outstanding. This one came from upstate New York, and I just wanted to point out this beauty. As we begin to go in this direction, I do have my contemplative frog here. He's going to have to move to a different spot because I see a huge blanket flower has seated itself right here, and that's surely gonna cover the frog. I do have a snow surfer candy tuft right here. I do not have very many white plants or white flowers at all in my garden. I'm not sure why. It looks really pretty against everything that's super dark here though. But again, all this green are blanket flowers. To this side of me, I have Canna Lilies, and I have, I think, 3 or 4 different varieties here. So each one will have a bit of variation in foliage color and definitely in its flower color. Behind the rock to this side, more daylilies. They are, I think, going to be red ones, a dark red variety. And then we get closer and closer to the magnolia tree. So thinking of the magnolia tree kind of as the foundation of this peninsula garden, I have everything that goes in front of it, and then I have plenty of things that are now getting planted behind it. I don't want to fully get into all the gardens that are happening outside of my fence line right now though, because I've talked about them already in previous videos, and a lot of work is being done there. A lot of changes are being made. So we'll get back to that another time when there's a lot of great things to show you there. I have cone flowers that are right here. They are mounded up a little bit higher because I think their roots were beginning to compete with the magnolia tree's roots, which is perfectly normal. I do think that if I am extending my flower bed toward the house more, I'm probably gonna move these forward just so they don't have to compete. I have creeping phlox here. You know I have tons of it in the backyard, so I just keep taking pieces from that major parent plant in the backyard and putting it in other places so it can spread. That I think will be wonderful to be all around the magnolia tree. I have more kaleidoscope lobelia over along the fence line there. They may also have to be moved just again so they don't have to compete with the tree. So we're gonna keep an eye on all of that. In the meanwhile, I'm building little tiny riverbed flows so that when water comes gushing out of our gutters and all of that and tries to get down to our drainage swale, the water can just be carried right along the riverbed rocks. So those are some of the ideas as to things that I have happening. Once this garden tour is over, it's time for me to start getting ready for my Earth Day garden party. So I am gathering all little plants that I can give away to my friends and neighbors who come and celebrate with me, and I cannot wait. And we're gonna end it off at my front porch. I have not yet beautified my front porch for spring. I haven't made my flower arrangements or anything like that. The flower pots that I have by the door right now are just things that I simply brought out of the greenhouse. So I have a lot of freshening up yet to do in this area. But my entryway from my pathway to my front door gets so beautiful with vibrant color later in the year. We're talking from summer through fall, that I just wanted to show you what's happening now and how we're preparing for it. I mentioned my huge ceramic flower pot that comes out, and this is the Diplodenia that will bloom with the vibrant red pink. Right here I have lantana. This lantana gets very large with plentiful yellow and orange mixed blooms. So we have a humongous pollinator attractor with the lantana, so I'm looking forward to seeing that again. But I do have a canna lily that's right here also, and this canna has the dark red foliage, and the flowers on it are also going to be red, but a much more vibrant, almost orange red flower. So things are happening and starting to be amazing. Thank you for coming along on this journey of my front yard garden tour, and I can't wait to show you what comes next. Good luck with all of your gardening endeavors, and happy planting.